So my name is Doruk. I'm working in DALI project at Queen Mary University of London and in conjunction with University of Essex. And we are developing games with a purpose. And I will tell you about one game that we are developing at the moment. It's called Burmingo. And it generally looks like this. So if you want to, you could visit our website at the moment. If you can access your laptop, it's www.warmingo.com. So what it basically looks like is at first sight, it is a word game. And on top of that, other than genre, in terms of purpose, it's a language learning game. And also at the same time, it is a game with a purpose. So we are trying to combine both disciplines. And language learning games, well, we are quite familiar with them here. And games with a purpose are these kind of games where the goal is to collect data from the players. So we are in a way combining both. And before starting our game, I want to show you a few examples of what games with a purpose or GWAPs are. And let's see some of the successful ones. So the first one, sure many of you are familiar with the ESP game. It was released in 2006, and it, in a way, kickstarted the whole concept of games with their purposes. So the main objective of this game was to gather tags for images, like words, what kind of things take place in the game, in images, pictures. So the principle of the game is when you go onto the game, you are matched with someone random. So there is no communication at all. You don't know the other person. And the only communication you can do is to type a guess from the input you see down there, and the players must agree on terms. So whenever the two players who have no idea who the other is, whenever they agree on a word, the machine learns another tag for the image, such as in this example, it has learned man and bird because both players have put that in, and it's about to learn learn hat, the word hat. And another example is folded. Well, one thing that is not so useful about GWAPs are once they are done, they are usually removed, so you can't really find them anymore. But folded is present, you can play it, so it is on the website, but don't do it now. Do it for Burmingo, please. And well, this is a game where the players can fold proteins to identify the purpose of the proteins, like what kind of diseases they can encounter, and things like that. So you can play this game. The good side about this game is that, well, it is visually very appealing, which is very good for GWAPs. Well, depending on your purpose, you can't always have so many visually appealing imagery. And, well, it has a purpose of biology. So it is one of the fields where you can attract more players because, I don't know, saving lives is maybe has more civic pride in it. So Folded is also another example game with a purpose. And the third one, maybe some of you know, is Phrase Detectives. This is the tool that our project, DALI project, has developed. It's on since 2009. So the purpose of this game is to gather NLP data to make the players, the users, to annotate the texts. And yeah, the player is presented with the text that they must go over, and then they are asked a question about it, whether, well, this one is asking whether it's a property or it can be, has this term been mentioned before, things like that. So Phrase Detectives is also going to add this feature where players can progress through the game. So the more they play, the more skilled they are, and the more advanced tasks that we can employ. But one downside of Phrase Detectives is it is not actually a game, so it is actually a tool that is gamified. So there is a very vague and important distinction between the two. You can have a tool, and you can gamify Excel for You could add badges, you could add leaderboards, and then it could be gamification. But to make it into a truly game, you might need more. So what is Burmingo? In Burmingo, we are trying to build on top of face detectives. So what we are adding is we add puzzles to solve two very concrete problems. We also have learning mechanics to make it more into a game where players can practice their language skills. Well, we are not teaching anything from scratch, so the game assumes already some knowledge in English, but learning mechanics is there for the players to practice. And finally, we have custom content that allows players to customize what the text that they are going through. So let me go into the puzzles. First, I want to show you what kind of puzzles we have. The first and the most basic one is the fill the blanks one. So the player is presented with a text, and then there is blanks. Well, all of our puzzles at the moment are working on this principle. We have blanks in the text, and which I will come to why we have those. The player must first fill the blanks, and then once they have filled, they are asked a question, which you can see down. Well, it's not that fast, but yeah, once it is filled, it will ask, has a 3 been matched before? So it follows that principle. And the second puzzle we have is the one that you saw on the first slide, is hangman. It is a classical hangman, but the difference is there's a continuous text, there isn't just one word. So the players have to guess all the words before the worm reaches that evil bucket over there. And the third one we have, my personal favorite, is the crossword puzzle. So it is the same principle. There's blanks, and now the players have to swap the purple tiles to guess the words and earn points. And again, it will ask an annotation question right afterwards. So these are the 3 puzzles we have at the moment. We will add in more. And what the puzzles solve, what are the 2 concrete problems? So the first problem it solves, and especially if you're coming from a game design background, which I have, the GUAP is rather new to me. I've been working on it for a year. A very interesting concept is the concept of cold start. Cold start is means like when you want to ask a question to the player and you want to assess points, you want to assess their performances, obviously, to make them earn points, but you don't know the answer yourself. So it is a problem. It is, in a way, trying to teach Greek without knowing Greek. So puzzles, in a way, let us mitigate the problem because puzzles are texts that are removed from the text, so we know the answers to those. So at least we can assess that part of the game so the players can immediately earn their points. And if the system doesn't know the answer to a question, because it hasn't yet gathered enough data, the players will be earning these X you see at the top right. Although if you play it now, we have 18 texts. It is in beta version, and all of our texts have been annotated, so you will never earn X, actually, if you try the game now. And yeah, so the puzzles, in a way, mitigate the cold start problem. And the second problem that they are solving is, well, people play games because it is fun and self-motivating, so GWAPs should also be fun to increase the engagement, because otherwise it's just a obligatory task. So, well, reading is for the average player might not be that much fun. Well, some of us are academics, so we are okay with that, but they might not like reading, and this actually impacts first their engagement to the game. Like, they might drop out because, well, they just may not want to read that much. And it may impact their comprehension. And if they do not comprehend the text correctly, they might not do correct annotations, which in the end impacts the quality of the data. So in a way, when we add the puzzles, we are gamifying the reading process, and we are hoping that will boost their comprehension, because, well, if you didn't comprehend the text, you can't pretty much solve the text anyway. So once you solve the puzzles, you have already comprehended the text and you are ready to annotate. So those were the 2 problems that puzzles are trying to solve in the game. And in terms of learning mechanics, what kind of mechanics have we added into the game? So we said that Burmingo is a language learning game with that purpose. So it is a combination of the two genres, two principles, and they share some of the principles in common. Let's take a closer look to what are the main pillars of language learning games, if not all. Of course, this is not exhaustive. Oh yeah, so sorry about that. So in language learning games, players learning something from the system. Games with a purpose. System is learning something from the game. So we are in a way trying to combine both. So anyway, 5 principles. Well, obviously your game should have a goal. What you're trying to teach to the player. You don't want to go too far from that. You want to be focused on your goals, and then you must give feedback, because otherwise there is not much learning. The players should know their mistakes and learn from them, or they should know when it is correct. There should be social engagement to simulate the classroom activity environment, and in a way also let the players guide each other. And the games should be rewarding in language learning games. Well, this is the principle of the more recent casual games anyway. You don't want to punish the players. You want to be nice and sweet to them and like constantly giving points for good performance. And the final one, the critical one, is the concept of challenge. If there's no challenge, if there's no flow state, the players will not have that much fun, and they might eventually drop out of the game. So flow is Csikszentmihalyi's theory about people's motivations. If something is too hard, they get overwhelmed. If something is too easy, they get bored. So you must find the way in the middle. So how do GUAPs approach to those 5 pillars? Well, we of course have goals. Well, we want to gather some data, and it is very specific. We want to gather NLP data, nothing else. So yeah, we also agree on the goals. The goals are set. Feedback is also quite important to us because we are training the players to, in terms of both language learning and also in terms of correctly annotating the data. So they must be learning and they must know if they are doing well or not, because then they can't learn or they can't produce quality data. Social engagement, we want that as well. Like I said, we are also teaching them how to annotate the data. So, and social community is always good to simulate the community, the classroom. And yeah, we want to be awarding, forgiving, not punishing. Well, GUAPs not necessarily must do it, but let's say we are okay with that. And obviously challenge or flow is very important, because if you don't have fun, no matter how good you have established all the other pillars, the players will eventually drop out. So let's take a look at the mechanics. We have a difficulty selection system. So as the players progress, they see more harder text, and they could reduce the difficulty. And here, actually, we could seek your help, because we need to assess the difficulties of text. And I saw very good presentations yesterday about this, so we could have a little chat about that in the break. And another thing, we have social mechanics. We have discussions under each puzzle, and players can ask questions, reply each other from there. We are also working on a separate forum. We have an inline translator, so if the players hover over any word, they can translate it, but it is only word-based, not like parts of speech or anything. There are 50 languages there that they can translate to. And of course, we have badges and leaderboard. It is the main pillar of gamification, and like you can add it to pretty much any system, but it is a must. I mean, it motivates a lot, so badges are good. We are also trying to let the players show off with their badges in the discussion forums as well. So we also have leaderboard. And I would also like to hear your experiences about leaderboard in your games or systems, whether you implemented it and how the players reacted. Because some players might like competitions, some don't. And like how you implemented, did you show all the players or just the range of players closer to them? I'd like to hear your experiences as well. Was it good or bad? The final one, we are trying to let the players customize their content so they can choose from categories of text at the moment. There are these 6 categories, but we want to add more. Like I personally want to see Edgar Allan Poe as a separate category. And eventually, we actually want the player to be able to read whatever they like to our system, like their daily newspapers and things like that. So Burmingo is currently in beta. We conducted some usability tests and crowd tests on Mechanical Turk. We have 200 players. And activity is an issue because we have 18 players at the moment. So in 30 minutes, you will have finished the game. So we can't really measure the activity as of now. So, I mean, there aren't enough text to let us know that you will be coming back. But so far, we have collected the 8,000 annotations. That was even enough for the 18 documents we had. And that is all. So, thank you.